we have a lot of people writing in from PGATour.com, a lot of fans who wanted to ask you guys some questions. And so I'm going to do kind of a rapid fire and go back and forth between the two of you. And I'll start with you. Biggest challenge when turning pro? This is from AJ Vitale.
Well, I think the biggest challenge might be just getting used to organize everything. You know, when I was playing amateur golf, Federation kind of looked after us and took care of everything. But all of a sudden, when you turn pro, you're on your own. You got to try and find some sponsors to pay for all your trips and training camps and book flights and hotels. And yeah, it can be a bit of a challenging first couple of months to get used to.
Perhaps not as glorious as some would think it would be right out of the gate.
No, maybe not, and not for everybody, and it's good to have some good support and some people that can help you out with all that stuff.
Yeah, and what do you biggest challenge turning professional?
Similar. I mean, all of a sudden you've had everybody takes care of you and they just tell you where to turn up and get on the plane now and turn up to this hotel and everything's taken care of. All of a sudden you have to go get an accountant. There's a whole other dimension that when you're a junior you don't have to worry about. Golf's a hard game if you're actually walking down the fairway thinking about stuff that's going on off the golf course, and when you first turn pro that's what happens. And once you sort of compartmentalise, if you like think about that stuff off the course, but on the course just keep the golf and get back to where you were an amateur when you just freewheeled a little bit. That's a really difficult stage. Who
would you say would be the most fun, or is the most fun that you have played with on tours so far?
Geoff Ogilvy.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're going to say that.
I dare not to say anything else when he's standing next to me. He's a big boy.
Well, would you agree with that? Is he one of the most enjoyable people that you've played with on tour? You can be honest. I mean, we're not going to hold it against you.
I wasn't lucky enough to play with him the day that he took his pants off on the golf course, so I wasn't there the most exciting day, but it's always fun to play with Henrik. Most guys are fun to play with.
Yeah. Okay, you open the door and I'm going to walk through. Well, let's talk about that last year. In hindsight, was that a good idea?
Brilliant idea.
And how so? You're getting a lot of fans, especially women, now writing you?
I had to sign that picture a few times, and it keeps appearing, and I keep signing it. And I mean, it turned out to be a fun thing. And as I said back then, I saved a shot, and that was the most important thing at the time. But we'll see in the future if I might just get soaked instead.
Let's talk about the stadium course. In 16, 17, and 18, Phil Mickelson called it one of the biggest risk rewards in all of golf. At what point in time are you thinking about 17? When you're walking up 16, do you think about 17?
Yeah, I mean, when I'm up on 16, I normally have a look over and see where the pin is, and but I'm not thinking about it too much. Once you get there, you got to be focused, got to hit the shots, and I mean, yeah, in tough conditions, it can look a pretty small target.
And in your viewpoint, what do you think about it? What are you thinking about when you're approaching 17, after 17, going to 18?
I mean, you think about 17 when you go down 16, and it's probably unique in golf. It's one of the only holes that we play anywhere in the world where we can clearly watch the group in front play the hole. And on a par 3 where short and long is bad, it's quite nice to see how their balls react in the wind, and it really is an easy hole until it gets windy. And it gets windy and it always throws you between clubs, and it's really awkward, and it's nice to see that group in front land 3 balls on dry land. It's like, oh, well, it's obviously very playable today. It makes you feel better about the hole. But I don't really think about it till I get around the corner on 16 and kind of watch the group in front play just with a bit of interest, and then putt out on 16 and then go and try to hit a good shot.
Yeah, and conditions like this, a little bit of wind, what would you typically hit on 17, do you think?
It goes between a pitching wedge and an 8-iron probably for me. I've probably hit up to a 7-iron maybe in a really strong into the wind, but with no wind it's a pitching wedge to the front and a 9-iron to the back for me. But it's generally a tiny bit into the wind.
The same goes for you about the same?
Yeah, I mean, I've hit club selection wise, I've hit dinky 7-iron and I've hit gap wedge to the front, so it's been, it's a mixed bag really depending on the conditions, but same as Geoff said, it's normally a 9-iron pitching wedge, something like that.
What about your free time? What are you doing before you play? What are you doing when you're Thursday night getting ready to play on Friday morning? What do you do at these tournaments?
Well, it all depends. If we got the family with us, we obviously have dinner and spend time with the kids. Otherwise, if you're on your own, you might just watch a movie, read a book, just relax a little bit. So it kind of depends on where and when.
And the same goes for you. Is there any hot spots around here that you like to visit, just out of curiosity, when you come into town?
Well, generally not, because I've pretty much the whole time come to this tournament with my family or with my wife and then 3 children. It's a good family tournament. There's stuff put on by the tour for the families. There's parties down the beach for the kids, and they look after us at night really well in the clubhouse here. And everybody seems to bring their families here. So all the kids have their friends out here that they play with. So generally, it's a family-oriented week. I might read a book or watch a movie or something. Or at the moment, there's some basketball playoffs on that I'm watching. Pretty interested in the Phoenix Spurs playoffs, which started last night. Which West Coast playoffs start really, really late when you're on the East Coast. Yeah. So every single year we seem to have been getting to bed every second night really, really late. But you probably have to sacrifice not watching the game if you got an early tea time. But I'll just do what most people do when they get in a hotel room, watch TV or read a book.
All right, well, I want to make sure I get to all of these questions because there's one in particular talking about match play. You guys seem to have gone back and forth in years. Let's talk about 2007.
Yeah, I guess it's more of a delight for me to talk about 2007.
That's why I started with you.
Yeah. No, it was obviously great for me to win the Accenture match play, and I know Geoff was gutted not to win it back to back, and I mean he's had a tremendous record. He's a fantastic match play player, and his record just shows that.
Yeah, you have definitely done well.
It has been a tournament that's been good to me for sure. I mean, that was disappointing losing the final because I hadn't lost a match for a while in that tournament. I mean, I think I'd won 11 or 12 in a row, whatever it takes to get to that point. So that was disappointing, but a couple of years later I managed to win it again. It's a horrible feeling walking off the golf course when you lose something like that because there's only two of you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 150 losers in every golf tournament and one winner, but in that one it feels like there really is only one loser.
Right. Yeah, one wins, one loses.
I mean, in reality there's 63 losers, but it really feels like there's only one that day, and it's not a nice feeling to walk off in the final.
Such a long week as well, and then you're kind of just falling on the last hurdle, really.
Yeah. Well, this one is from Pete McMahon, and he was asking, what are your swing thoughts to try to stay consistent? Because you're talking about 4 days of golf, grueling days. What do you do to stay consistent?
Well, I mean, I haven't been consistent, so if he's got a good suggestion, please send it in, and I'll look into it. But keeping it simple, it's so easy in this game to complicate it too much. So I'm just trying to work back on basics and keeping it simple, and then whatever that might be for the time being.
Well, yes, golf and consistent sometimes are oxymoronic. I mean, they don't really go hand in hand.
No, as Henrik says, it's really hard. If somebody works out a good way to be consistent, they can tell me, and I'll be the first time I hear it. But it really is try to keep it as simple as you can. I mean, whenever you look back and you realise the periods that you were playing well, it was never very complicated, and you didn't have to think about it too much, and it was very basic sort of stuff. So if it's not working, I'll try to go to things that have worked before, simple little things. It can just be one swing. Sometimes you can walk along the third hole and hit a second shot into the green. It's like, wow, that felt nice, and that refreshes an old feeling that you had 2 years ago that worked really well, and you run along with that. I mean, that's kind of the way I'll do it.
Are you a surfer?
I am a surfer. I would say I'm probably about a 27 handicap surfer, but I'm...
What does that mean?
Not very good. In the beginning of my surfing career.
Okay.
I'm a developing surfer. I really, really enjoy it.
I spent a lot of... it up on the board?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
So you're more like an 18 then?
But for how long do you stay on the board?
Quite a long time.
Okay.
But it's for an Australian, it's kind of against the rules to not be a surfer. I mean, 90-something% of Australians live on the coast. Everyone's had a go at surfing a little bit, and I had a go a few times when I was a kid. But I've had the opportunity to do it the last few years. We spend a lot of time in California in the summer and get out in the ocean. It's just, even if you can't surf, just sitting on a board out in the ocean is just one of the nicest things you can do in the world. Dolphins swimming around you and stuff. It's just a really, really nice thing to do, and something that has been taking more and more of my time in my spare time, and it's been really good.
Yeah, especially eventually the kids will get out there on some surfboards. What about you? There's certain things that you do that you like to relax, sports or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, if we could go skiing every now and again, that's a great one. It hasn't been too often the last couple of years, but like Geoff said, the Aussies, they got to be able to surf. If you're Swede, you got to be able to stand on a pair of skis. So it's kind of
comes with the territory.
Yeah, it comes with the territory. But other than that, I mean, fishing every now and again, and just family vacation.